Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rebecca Keppel. In today's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Usually I like to do card making or scrapbooking, but for today we are going to alter a composition notebook. These plain composition notebooks can be found for as little as 50 cents each. The last time I shared an altered composition book, I shared my tips for altering it without doing any measuring. And I have to say, those tips still apply. I got tons of comments on that video about how lots of you don't like to measure either. And I'm so glad because now I don't feel alone. So let's jump right in and turn this plain old composition notebook into something that you'll love with no measuring. So for today's video, I actually have two different altered notebooks for you. The first one is a little bit straightforward and simple. The other one has some additional techniques to share. So to get started on this no measure altered notebook, I am going to cover the cover of the composition book with tape runner. This is my favorite tape runner to use. And then I'm going to use the two edges of a 12 by 12 piece of pattern paper. One edge is going to go up against the binding and the other edge is going to go up against the top edge of the notebook. Then I'm going to open up the notebook cover, flip it around, and use some non-stick scissors to just trim around whatever is hanging off the outside there. Then I use my corner chomper and I use the 1/2 inch corner and I chomp through both the pattern paper and the chipboard for the album. I'm going to do the same exact thing with the back cover. I'm going to use this adhesive tape runner from Thermoweb and I'm just going to cover the whole back cover with it. And then I'm going to put another piece of 12 by 12 pattern paper edge up to the binding and then up to the edge of the bottom of the notebook there. I'm going to open up that back cover there and I'm going to use my non-stick scissors to cut anything that's hanging off the cover. This is so easy to do. You don't have to measure a thing to get a really pretty cover on to your notebook. Use that corner chomper to go right through the pattern paper and the chipboard of the notebook and you have a nice clean corner. I love these 12 by 12 pieces of scrapbook paper that have the 3 by 4 cards on them because they make great titles or focal points to that cover. I'm going to use the Waffle Flower Crafts layered blanket stitch die to cut out some coordinating pattern paper. It's basically the flip side of what I used on the cover there to make that 3 by 4 card really stand out because of that different color there, the blue. It really helps the pink in the background of the Focus on the Good, which is a great title cover for a journal, really pop there. And I'm just using my tape runner to adhere all that down. Now it's time to make some divider pages. And we're going to do this really simply with the same technique that we used on the cover and back cover. So I'm going to find about 1/3 of the way into my notebook there. And I'm going to cover the right hand page with tape runner, just like I did on the cover there. So I'm going to do all around the edge. That makes sure it's not going to pull up even when you turn the page a bunch, and then through the center. Now this time it's a little trickier because you really have to get that 12 by 12 sheet into the crack of that binding there to make sure that everything is going to close up nice and sit flat. But you're going to do the same technique of making it even with the binding and then even with the top of the page. And then all you have to do is open up that next page and cut around the outside, anything that is hanging off once again with those non-stick scissors. It is important to use those non-stick scissors because there may be some adhesive and you don't want to gum up your regular scissors. So that is it. Super, super easy to make those divider pages. So I'm going to make a second one. I usually like to do at least 2. So it's like 1/3 of the way through the notebook and then 2/3 of the way through the notebook. And those just kind of break up the notebook and just make it look a little bit more special as you are turning through it and seeing something that's going to divide possibly your notebook into 3 sections. So I'm going to do the same exact thing, put that tape runner down, make sure it's tucked into the crack of that binding there. You can see this one, I got a little bit too much paper, and so I did have to kind of really tuck that in to make it sit flat. That's okay. You can make it work, or you can even trim it. And what I did was I took the point of my scissors and just really tucked it into the corner of the binding there to make it work. I am going to use the corner chomper again so that I have nice clean corners throughout and everything kind of matches up. And then I love these clips. They're actually for scrapbooking or planners or whatever, but they look really cute in these little notebooks. So I give one for every notebook that I make. Okay, and on these divider pages, I am going to put some of those little titles because I really just like them. They're all positive messages. So I do mat them on some coordinating cardstock, just again, so they stand out against the kind of busy pattern paper so you can really see them. Okay, now let's do the inside back cover here. And for that, actually it's the inside front cover. So we did the front cover, the back cover, now we're gonna do the inside front cover. And we're gonna do it in the same exact way. Just put the adhesive down, line up the paper, and then open up the cover again, trim it, and then I'm gonna re-chomp the corners. There may not be much that comes off, but you do wanna do it to make it nice and clean. I love those UPC codes. They're the little strip at the bottom of the 12 by 12 pattern papers, and look at how cute it looks on the edge of the binding there. So I am overlapping the paper just a touch onto the pattern paper and then hanging onto the binding. And that's just because I wasn't sure how good the adhesive would stick to that binding because it's kind of a waxy feel to it there. But if you hang it off the paper a little bit, it will work just fine. And then those little extra pieces, I don't get rid of anything. They may have a little adhesive on them, they may not, but I'm going to use them throughout in my journal there. So I just found a little edge that wasn't completely straight, and that's why I'm just fixing that little trim there. How cute do those UPCs look on the edges of the binding? And now for this one, that little extra bit of hearts, I'm going to use it like a piece of heart tape or heart washi to hold up that 3x4 card. Okay, what if you don't have a full 12 by 12 piece of pattern paper that you love? For the inside back cover, I couldn't find one that really worked with the rest of the look of the journal. So I am going to cover it with white cardstock. I have tons of that, from scrapbooking and card making and things like that. So you can use a piece of plain cardstock or a piece of colorful cardstock. In this case, I used white, and then I used a scrap of one of the pattern papers that I had after covering the back there. And I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut it down to a decent strip in the center and then adhere it down to the back notebook and then cut off the excess. This time I'm going to use my favorite dot roller adhesive. This is the Gina K Designs for Thermoweb dot roller adhesive. It is also refillable, so I do love this one as well. And that is pretty much it for the pattern paper. Now I'm going to play a little around with the binding. I am going to use a white gel pen. This is my favorite white gel pen. Everything will be listed down in the description below, but this is the Uniball Signo, and it's the broad point. So I am going to just do some faux hand stitching on this black binding, and I love the way this came out. I wasn't sure it was going to look okay, and once I did it, I was so happy, and I turned it over and I did the backside as well because I just think it's super, super cute, and it looks perfect with these colors and kind of the design of the whole notebook. I'm going to lastly put on some enamel dots. These are Waffle Flowers Clean and Clear, the white ones from that set. And I'm just going to add those to that 3x4 card on the front of the notebook because they are nice and shiny and dimensional. I didn't like how you could see the pattern paper through this one piece of paper, and so I am going to cover that up with some pattern paper as well. You could just adhere it down to another sheet of notebook paper, but I thought it'd be cute to kind of cover it up with some pattern paper. And that completes the first notebook. Okay, so to move along to the second notebook, which has some more advanced techniques like foiling, I am going to do the same technique for the cover of the notebook. I was just showing you that this adhesive, one of the things that I really like about it is that the head is a swivel, so it can go around those corners really easily. So once again, I am just going to cover up the notebook cover with a bunch of tape runner, or you could use dot roller adhesive. I think for the covers, the tape runner works a little bit better because you're getting adhesive in a whole strip instead of just dots. And then I'm going to open up the notebook and I'm going to cut around with my non-stick scissors anything that is hanging off. Once again, I am going to use my corner chomper with the 1/2 inch, and I'm going to place the corner of the notebook straight into the corner chomper and just make sure I go through both the pattern paper and the chipboard. That tool gets a lot of mileage over here, so I definitely recommend grabbing one if you haven't already added one to your stash. I'm going to do the back cover in the same way. I did flip the pattern paper so that the front one starts with the pink and goes down to the yellow, and the back cover starts with the yellow and goes down to the pink. You just have to kind of decide what you want, if you want them exactly the same. This one, I had 2 sheets of the same pattern paper, so I thought I would mix it up by flipping them upside down, and I kind of like the way that looks. Okay, for the inside cover, we're going to do our same no measure technique. We're going to add the tape runner to the inside cover. Just make sure your notebook doesn't close on you, because it will stick to the paper next to it. Put some pattern paper there, flip it over, cut out the excess, and then chomp the corners once again. Okay, once your covers are done, you can start playing with some embellishing and some foiling. I am using Thermoweb's iCraft Deco Foil double-sided foam adhesive, which I die cut out of this large star. And once you do that, this is double-sided adhesive, so there is a protective backing on both sides of my star. I'm going to peel off one of the protective layers and I'm going to lay it down on my project and just make sure it's smooth. Be careful when you're laying it down, it's very sticky. Now I'm going to use the Thermoweb iCraft Deco Foil transfer sheets, and this is Rainbow Shattered Glass, one of my absolute favorites. So next you have to peel off the top protective layer of the foam, which exposes the adhesive. Then you lay the foil down with the color side facing you. Make sure you have foil color everywhere that you have sticky adhesive, and then use your finger, not your nail, to rub it, to burnish it, and then transfer the foil to the foam adhesive. If you missed any spots, you can go back in with some color and add them back in. It's fine to do that. That was my back cover. I'm going to do the same exact thing to the front cover. Peel off that front protective layer and then lay my foil with the silver side facing the adhesive and the color side facing me, and then use my fingertip to rub and burnish and transfer that foil onto the adhesive. And just as you're peeling back, if you're seeing that you're missing spots, you can kind of just go lay it back down and rub and add. Make sure they're all transferred. Now I'm just going to use some stickers, some coordinating stickers, puffy stickers to embellish my cover this time, since I'm not using a 3x4 card. I thought this one kind of had a teen tween look to it, and it's really fun. It's super cute. I would use it too. So I have a bunch of rainbows and things like that, and I am going to decorate the inside cover a little bit by popping up one of these stickers. I'm going to remove the adhesive with my anti-static powder bag, and then I'm going to adhere down an acetate frame, and then I'm going to put some foam adhesive on the back of that sticker so that I can pop it up. I don't love popping things up on the cover on the outside because I feel like they get caught on hands and fingers and stuff, but on the inside I think it'll be okay. So I'll let you know, and next time I do a video with altered notebooks how this fared, but I think it looks really, really cute. For each of the pages, I am going to put a little sticker or die cut or acetate piece on the bottom right-hand corner. And that just kind of is a unique look that makes you know that it's special and handmade. For this notebook, instead of divider pages, I am going to add tabbed dividers, and I am using the Waffle Flower Crafts Color Combos A2 panel die, which has 4 different tabs, and you can see that some of them have little die cuts in the middle, like the hearts, where when you close up the tab on the scored line, it then shows the color on the inside of the pattern paper, which I just think is adorable. So you open these up completely and you put a little bit of adhesive on both edges there, and then just close it around the paper, and you're lining it up. It's kind of easier to see when you actually look at it. So basically there's a line that is supposed to go to the edge of your paper, and it's very easy to tell where that is. You just need to look really closely at it and you'll see that will show the tab divider hanging out of the notebook. Okay, now to foil the binding cover. I am using Thermoweb's I craft Easy Cut Adhesive, which is a thin layer of adhesive, and I'm just gonna wrap it around to see where I want it to go to. And that little fold line is how thick I want this to be. I need 2 of those. So I kind of just looked on the platform of my trimmer there to see how wide I was cutting, and now I'm gonna cut another piece that wide. So that's technically a measurement, but not really, because I just did it by folding and doing that kind of thing. All right, so now I'm gonna peel off one protective layer and then wrap it around the binding and then peel off the other protective layer. Now I'm gonna do the same thing with this second piece. Now you can overlap these as long as you've peeled off the protective layer on one of them, because it's just a thin adhesive. So I'm just gonna peel these off, and now you can see there's a thin tape of adhesive on the whole binding. I'm gonna lay that shattered glass rainbow foil and wrap it around and rub with my finger just like I did with the foam adhesive, and just really rub, because with the foam it really picks it up very easily. With the iCraft you just want to make sure, especially on this binding, it's kind of weird and lumpy in places. You just want to make sure that you're getting nice coverage there. But look at how easy that was. You guys, it's so easy and it looks so cute. I absolutely love this. Okay, and then we're just gonna grab a clip to embellish, and I thought that the little flamingo looked absolutely perfect in this one. And that is it for this notebook. I hope you'll give this no measure altered composition notebook a try. You can really do it with most of the supplies that you already have in your stash. But if you are interested in the ones that I use, they will all be linked down in the description below. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't forget to hit that bell so you can be notified when any of my new videos are available. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon.